Hello. Happy Thursday. Welcome on into Let's Bet It. Lauren Jabari here with Jim Monis. Jim, this is the first time that the two of us are hosting together, just the two of us. How are you feeling about it?
I mean, this is only right. You got to step up when you're asked to step up. When you're a competitor, you get put on the big stage. We don't have Alex and Jared to help balance things out a little bit and tell us if they're fading us or tailing us. So, hey, I'm ready to go. You got to step up in a big game. Let's go.
Next man up mentality. That's what they always say. Next man up.
Garner Minshew did it for the Eagles. They won. So, I mean, and Hurts came back, got another
Yeah.
win. So that's what
Taylor
I'm Garner
Heineke all
Minshew.
season long. Seriously.
Heineke all season long.
Yeah, come on now. All right, before we get started, we're doing this show every single day. We do have Christmas Day off, but other than that, every single day, 10 a.m. Eastern time. So make sure to hit the subscribe button, subscribe, comment. We're bringing you our best bets every single day. Today, lots to talk about. Thursday Night Football. It's crazy to think, Jim, that this is already week 16 of NFL, and this is the last Thursday Night Football game of the entire season. Isn't that wild? I feel like time has kind of flown by.
I feel like we were just talking about the Dallas Tampa game, like the very first, the first game of the year. Like we were breaking it down, and now we're talking about last Thursday night game. Yeah, I know it's but it's the holiday season. We got to give out winners in football. We got to give out winners in basketball. You always give out winners in hockey. I listen. So I mean, it's holiday season. We're just giving out winners.
The holiday season, just serving out winners. Speaking of serving, Servodidio is going to be on the show talking a little college basketball. We have NBA chat, some crazy stuff going on there right now with COVID. And then we can't end without our best bets of the day in the Pickswise 3-star play of the day. So without further ado, my friend, let's get into it and let's bet it. Thursday night football, last Thursday night game of the entire season. It's crazy. Ryan Tannehill and the AFC South leading Titans host Jimmy G and the 49ers in a game that has huge implications for both sides. Jim, when you just look at this one straight up, what are you expecting before we even get into the bets?
I know. So the first thing I think of with these teams is how similar they are. Like they have good quarterbacks who everything is based on play action. They are at their best when their teams are running the ball. They can do play action when they're not asked to do everything. Whenever Tannehill or Garoppolo has to do everything, it seems to go bad for both teams. And both teams are playing decent on defense. The 49ers a little bit better than Tennessee, but Tennessee just had that classic game against Pittsburgh. Tennessee did that. I just don't understand. Every week, the Steelers are the worst team I've ever watched. They don't do anything and they win. And that's what I'm saying. And I'm like, how does Tennessee? Obviously, they haven't had all their weapons at receiver, and that holds them back a little bit, especially with Brown. Hopefully, he comes back tonight. We'll talk about that. But I think Tennessee is ready to get back on track here and come back tonight. We'll talk about the picks, I know. But 49ers, that game against Atlanta was insane the other day. Yeah. I mean, Atlanta was inside the 10 like 3 times and didn't get any points. That game should have been a little bit closer than it looked. So these teams are very similar to me. Both are going to be tough outs in the playoffs. However the playoffs shake out, they get in. These are tough teams. Like they're good teams. They just don't have elite quarterback play. Good quarterback.
Yeah, very similar teams, but the 49ers right now are the hotter team, if you will. They've won 5 of the last 6, averaging just one under 30 points per game, 29.2 points per game. Well, you look at the Titans, they've lost 3 of the last 4, looking to solidify their AFC South title and fend off the Colts right now because the Colts are kind of just nipping at their heels. They're like, we need to get this win. We want to solidify this AFC South title. And Thursday Night Football hasn't necessarily been the kindest to Tannehill. He's had 5 touchdowns, 5 interceptions, and his teams are 2-4 straight up. So I feel like this is a good, spot for him to kind of take advantage of it. So when you look at it, some of your best bets for the game tonight, are you on props? Do you have a straight up winner? Who do you like for this one?
So I never love props. I never go big on. I do them because hey, we're gambling. What are we going to do? I have to have fun during the game. Get some wins and losses quick. So I'm going to go over for Foreman, the running back for Tennessee, over 45.5 yards rushing. I believe it is right now what I saw this morning. Just because I feel like they used him a lot against Pittsburgh. I like the way he runs the ball. I know Tennessee is going to try to run the ball. Not that the 49ers have a terrible run defense, but it's not dominant. So I do feel like Foreman will get his chances to get over that. And then I love the fullback for the 49ers, Juszczyk. They use him. He has to get over 8.5 for receiving yards. That's basically, I'm counting on one catch. Yeah. I'm counting on one catch. They do a lot of misdirection, get it to him in the flat and let him run. I'm counting on one catch for maybe a 10, 11-yard gain. But that guy is so talented in the pass game, so I'm hoping that they use him a little bit tonight too. So
Yeah, I
those are my
like it.
props.
I like it. I really like it. I know my best bet is a straight up bet on the game. My props a little bit different. Well, not a little different, but the winner that I have is different than the props that I'm betting on. So I'll give you a little,
I like
teaser
you
for
do
my
that though. You're famous
yeah,
for that.
for my best bet of the day. It's totally fine. So I have 3 props on this game. Jimmy G over 236.5 passing yards.
Like
You
it.
look at what the Titans are able to do, Jim. You talked a little bit about their defense, right? They're ranked second in the league right now in rushing yards allowed. Jimmy G is going to have to step up his passing game
Yeah.
to be able to push the ball down the field for the 49ers. I think this is the only kind of point of attack that they're going to be able to have against a team like the Titans. He's thrown for more than 237 yards in 2 of the last 3 games, including 2 290-yard performances against the Bengals and the Seahawks, which isn't saying much because neither of them, their defenses are, that much of a wow factor. But at the same time, Tennessee gives up 242.3 yards per game and faces an average of 37 opponent pass attempts per game. So I look at the 49ers backfield, they're kind of limited because Mitchell's going to be out with a knee injury. Jimmy G is going to have to be the make or break factor, I think, in this game for the San Francisco offense. So I like the over there on 236.5 passing yards. What do you think about that?
No, and the Jimmy G thing. Yeah, I like that too. I agree with you. I think it's
G.
going to be tough times running the ball, and they take so
Mhm.
many. I do like the fact they throw the ball down the field. I mean, they
So
take
much.
their
Yeah.
shots.
Yeah. And then so one of the other ones I was looking at is George Kittle, but I like under 68.5 receiving yards. And here's why. I know that he's going to be one of the receivers that Jimmy G is going to be looking for, right?
Mhm.
He caught for 425 yards over the last 3 games. You're like, well, why are you betting the under then? Well, let me tell you. I think he's one of the most lethal players in this position, but you're going up against the Titans this week. Their defense has given up the 4th fewest receiving yards to tight ends this season with 496 throughout 15 weeks, I guess. And Tennessee has allowed more than 60 yards to tight ends only twice in 2021 over 15 weeks. So I look at George Kittle. Yes, he's elite. Yes, Jimmy G is going to look for him, but I look for him to fall a little bit short of that mark in receiving yards, 68.5 under for me on this one. But Deebo Samuel, this is a guy, I love my anytime touchdowns. I love my plus
You
money props, right? My plop.
always, always.
So Deebo Samuel, anytime touchdown at plus 115. I got that on BetMGM. On FanDuel right now, it's minus 110. So I say shop around a little bit for some of those touchdown props. And usually I can find some of the best value at BetMGM. But I think Deebo Samuel is going to come to this game and wreak havoc in the Niners offense. He's kind of demonstrated a new level of versatility for himself this season. He's rushed for a team high 7 touchdowns this season, and that goes along with his 5 receiving touchdowns that he's had this season for the team. And he's run for at least 1 touchdown in his last 5 games, including 2 against the Minnesota Vikings. And you look at what the Titans are able to do, giving up an average of 2.4 touchdowns per game. I think one of those is going to definitely go to Samuel tonight on Thursday Night Football in the bright lights. Anytime touchdown, Deebo Samuel plus 115. You tailing me on that?
I love the Debo one because of so many options. Because he does run the ball in, he does
Yes.
catch the ball or take it to the house from 70 yards out. I mean, there's so many ways he can score, and the versatility that they use him. That's a hell of a pick. The George Kittle one, I give you respect on because whenever it looks too easy, it never is. And
Yeah.
I completely agree with you. Tennessee has to find a way. And I like how you backed it up with how they've played tight ends. That's who you need to control for San Fran. That's who Jimmy G wants to throw. That's who the play action down the seam. He loves going to Kittle. So if they can find a way to manage him, that puts a lot more pressure on Jimmy G. And he's never been the, when he's asked to do everything, that's when he struggles. So I think Tennessee does try to control Kittle tonight. I like that.
I know. And we're talking about props, right? So we got some red hot chili proppers. This is one
Okay.
of my favorite segments that we have. One of them, we are talking about George Kittle, but I have 4 props for you. You have 15 seconds to say over or under and give me a little explanation on why you think that that's going to hit or
But
not.
you need to tell me if you agree or disagree.
Okay. I will. You ready for it?
Ready.
Ryan Tannehill, over under 210.5 passing yards.
Under.
Under. Why?
Because I think they put too much pressure. I think he gets a lot of short passes tonight. I just don't think they throw the ball a lot down the field, and I think they will run the ball pretty well.
Yeah, you think their run game's going to be their bread and butter tonight?
I'm hoping because I took Foreman, so I'm going to back up my Foreman prop.
Yeah, I agree. I honestly agree with you on that one. And just looking at Tannehill's stats on Thursday Night Football, like in the bright lights on Thursday, not great. So I think they're going to have to rely on the run game a little bit. Agree with you on that. Jimmy Garoppolo over under 1.5 passing touchdowns.
I like the over on this. I think that'd be a good
Mhm.
one. Is what's the value? Is it decent value on the over?
I am
Um,
not sure. I don't have a sports book
that's
pulled
okay.
up.
I didn't know if you saw it. That's all right. But I would take the over on that. I think just because they do so much motion wise inside the 10, get rid of the ball for
Mhm.
some passing touchdowns.
Yeah, I think over on this one as well, just because they're going to have to throw to be able to win the game tonight
Yeah,
against the Titans because the Titans shut down the run like it's nothing. You know what
it's
I
a
mean?
deal. Agree.
George Kittle over under 68.5 receiving yards. We just talked about this a little
I
bit, but I
think I
want
like.
more.
I think I like the under in it. I think that.
You're tailing me on this.
I'm telling you, I'm just backing you up on that
I
one.
love it. I absolutely love it. Devo Samuel over under 35.5 rushing yards.
I go over with Debo only because he's capable of always breaking a big one.
I like it. I like it. I'm gonna go over on that one too, just because I think that he's gonna be, one of the big
He
factors
just is
for the
capable
49ers.
of breaking. He's always
Yeah,
capable.
totally capable. I know. All right. So we love Thursday night football, but we also love some college basketball.
Love
Let's
it.
take it to the kids, as Alex Glaze would say. He's been having a tough time betting on the kids recently. Let's bring in Dan Servodidio, the lead college basketball analyst for Fantasy Alarm, to break everything down that's been going on. Dan, how are you doing today? Happy holidays.
Hey, hey, happy holidays to you guys. Thanks for bringing me on again.
Of course. We love having you. You're always rocking it. You're rocking your bets. So let's get right
Yeah.
into it. College basketball. Now we're like into the thick of the season right now. Um, I guess a broad outlook on everything. Anything surprising you, or is it kind of like falling how you thought it would at the beginning of the season?
Yeah, I mean, some of these teams, it's really interesting to see them play, once they start playing tougher competition, because a lot of the teams have been playing, cake matchups, softer
Yeah.
teams early in the year against the, no-name schools. But once they start playing the tougher competition, you really see who sets themselves apart from other teams. And I think we're going to talk some college conference futures in a sec here, but that is like a big determining factor for me, just seeing, all right, so some of these schools have not been playing as well when they're facing these tougher competition. So that's like been, I'm just really paying attention because we've already started the conference play up, but now we're having some really marquee competition. One school that stands out is Villanova. They have
Mhm.
not been proven it against some of these top teams, and they got blown out by Creighton the other day. I'm really surprised by that. I'm looking to see if they bounce back. They did get a win in conference play this past week, but that's like, an example of a team. I'm just waiting to see them, play better,
I know, totally.
Yeah.
Let's get into some conference winners right now and looking at futures. What teams are you eyeing to win their conferences? You look at Baylor, Kansas. They're both favored right now at plus 170 to win the Big 12. Nova, you're just saying minus 110 to win the Big East, and there's lots of value in the Big 10 as well right now.
Yeah, exactly. And I'll go right there with the Big Ten. Because like Purdue is just the runaway current favorite right now.
Yeah.
Everyone's in love with Purdue right now. I've seen some cracks, honestly, when they faced closer, tougher competition. Just another example of that one. They've had close wins against, Villanova, Iowa, NC State. They had to take the overtime, and they already suffered a conference loss to Rutgers on the road. I just see some cracks in Purdue. I don't think they're that runaway favorite. So there's some value here. Illinois and Ohio State both plus 600. I'm seeing at DraftKings. I see value in both of them. I like Illinois for me. Their starting point guard and a preseason breakout candidate was Andre Curbelo. He hasn't played since November 23rd with a concussion, and he's
Mm.
suffering some head trauma symptoms since then. But they've said that he's coming back soon, before the end of the regular season. I think they'll try to get him back, in conference play here soon. Just kind of, taking it safe with him with being a concussion and head injury. But with Curbelo back, that's a big boost to this team because he's their leader, he's their point guard, he's their floor general. Right now, they're just kind of leaning on big man Kofi Coburn down low. But when he comes back, I think they're going to be more balanced. And I just see some value in Illinois here plus 600 because that's not taking into account when they're fully healthy with Curbelo back out there.
Yeah.
One I got on, Dan, I was interested in with the Atlantic 10, and I know kind of Davidson's kind of the hot team now because of they get Lauren. You were on that the other night too, I think, with
Mhm.
against Alabama.
Yep.
But I was following. St. Bonaventure played really well in that Charleston Classic, which is one of the greatest preseason tournaments you could
Yeah.
ever go to if you get a chance to. I used to live down there, but they haven't really played that well since that tournament, St. Bonaventure. And I see the gap. I see the value in Atlantic 10, even if it's Richmond or Davidson. I feel like those teams are closer to St. Bonaventure than the odds say they are. So I thought they had some value. Do you see some value there with St. or Richmond or Davidson?
Yeah, St. Bonaventure was this team that got a ton of preseason hype,
Yeah,
and I agree with you because they have not shown that to me yet. I mean, they lost by what 40 or something to Virginia Tech the other day.
yeah.
Yeah, they are a team that just has not proven it yet, and maybe they get into conference play and they start dominating all these other teams in the A10. But I agree with you. Richmond and Davidson are both there. I'll even throw Dayton in at plus 900. I'm seeing.
Ooh.
I
Right.
like all those teams are worth a shot on. I would not take the Bonnies as the favorite there right now. I mean, maybe they lose a couple and you get some value, but right now, yeah, you got Richmond, you got Davidson as definite values in that conference for sure.
Right now, it's the holiday season. We got the Diamond Head Classic tournament going on right now. When you're looking at that, are there any matchups that stand out to you about that tournament? I think are there games tonight and then there's games on Christmas, right?
Yeah, we got games all day today, late into the night, and then yeah, they're taking tomorrow off,
Late
Christmas
into the
Eve.
night. That was
Yeah.
awesome last night. I love those
Oh yeah.
midnight games.
When a midnight
Yeah.
Eastern tip off, it's gonna be good.
There's
but
two
but
things I
yeah.
can never. I always have to bet on the very first game of the day, like Wagner and Fairfield today is at
Oh
like
yeah.
2 o'clock, and then I have to bet that last game too. Like it's I
You
have to
can't
do it.
not,
I
right? You
can't
just
not
can't
Right.
do
not.
it.
Yeah.
But yeah, they wrap up that tournament on Christmas Day. So we'll have some good games that day. But yeah, today I got a few from this Diamond Head that I'm
Let's hear
definitely
it.
looking at. BYU minus 5.5 as favorites there. I like that against the spread. They're just a much stronger team. They're playing Vanderbilt. They're just a much upper tier team than Vanderbilt right now.
Mhm.
BYU top 30 nationally in both offensive and defensive efficiency on Ken Palm there. And their only two losses this year have been on a neutral court to Creighton and on the road against a pretty solid Utah Valley team. But they already have
Yeah.
impressive wins over Oregon, San Diego State, Utah State, and Utah. They're just a lot more proven. Vandy, meanwhile, just kind of a little too top heavy for me. They got Scottie Pippen Jr. as their main guy there, but when he struggles or has defenses keying in on him, which I think BYU will do here, they have struggled and they've lost basically all their top matchups this season. Straight up losses to SMU, Loyola Chicago, VCU, and Temple, and three of those have come by double digits. So I'm looking at BYU here, 5.5 spread there. I think we might, once that game tips off later, I think we might get a couple points in BYU's direction, maybe some money coming in on them. So I like them there. And then the other one in this game. So last night, that game, South Florida was playing, and that game it went under the total. This team, South Florida, I don't know if you've been paying attention, but they every single game they've played this year has hit the under. They are arguably the worst, high conference team if you consider the AAC a high
Mhm.
conference, but they are one of the slowest paced teams, one of the worst offensive efficiency teams. They do play some good defense, which is all that combination has led to all their games going under. So I'm looking at the under here again. Why not? Because they're playing Hawaii, who isn't like a great team by any measure. It'll probably just be a defensive game, low scoring. And this, it's in Hawaii. So I just think South
I
Florida is
mean,
going to
it's in
struggle here.
Hawaii. Yeah. There could
So
be
yeah, I like
earthquakes
the
in
under
that
there.
tournament. That's crazy. Okay, I want to take you back to conference futures one more second because
Yeah.
I don't think we hit the SEC, did we? Who do you have right now as a value pick to win the SEC?
Yeah, so there's a few because I see the SEC wide open.
Yeah.
You have Kentucky and Alabama are the two betting favorites right now. But I just see some cracks in both of those teams, and I think once we get into conference play for this conference, I think that we're going to see some losses left and right, and maybe a team kind of shines through. I think that team's going to be Tennessee. The Vols are, right there in the range with Arkansas, Auburn, Florida, LSU in the plus 600 to plus 900 range to win the conference. But I
Mhm.
like Tennessee. They're at plus 600. I'm seeing on DraftKings. This team, they have the second best defensive efficiency in the country right now. They're playing outstanding, and they're coming off an impressive win against Arizona last night. And that was like, to me, that was like the big test where I was going to say, all right, can they win this game? And they did, because I have a lot of credit to Arizona right now, so I like them. But
Mhm.
Tennessee getting that win. They have an outstanding freshman in Kennedy Chandler, but they also have a ton of veteran leaders who've been around for a couple years now in that program. I just like this team as a more complete team, and I see some value compared to Kentucky and Alabama, who just they've lost a couple of their tougher games this season. Where I think in conference play we might see those odds kind of shorten, where Tennessee's not as big of an underdog.
Mhm. Totally. Jim, do you like that bet?
That one,
Are you
I took Tennessee and they blew out. They were minus like 23. I took them like 2 weeks ago, a week and a half ago, and I watched the game because I was like, let me see how. And man, they come at you in so many different. They have so many different guys that they were impressive. I like that. I didn't think about that with the SEC, the title. How do you feel? I thought Houston was one to win their conference. I feel like Memphis is kind of their only competition.
Yeah,
Or am I overvaluing Houston a little bit right now? I mean, I,
I don't think so.
I think they look decent to me. I
Yeah,
thought there was a gap between them and Memphis. Memphis plays too, they turn the ball over too much. I hate
Mhm.
teams that do that. Like,
yeah. Memphis. I mean, just to touch on them real quick, I have just been so disgusted with what's
disgusting.
happened there.
Just to touch on them for a second because I
That
got
is,
a vent,
I'm
okay?
glad. I'm glad you said that because I'm like, that can't be. That's the
Oh,
second best
I
team.
had a ton of excitement coming in this year for them, because they
Yeah.
brought in the two really good
Yeah.
freshmen that are going to be NBA players next year, and they brought in a ton of transfers. But that's been the issue, because they've had the veterans and the freshmen have not been gelling right, and maybe they start to figure it out. But they did have that impressive win over Alabama, but I just think like they're a lot of talent, but they're not a good cohesive team right now to me. And
Mhm.
I don't know if it's going to be like that the rest of the way, because so they're actually dealing with a COVID outbreak, and a lot of their players are unvaccinated, and that's actually a big thing right now for them, is because they might take a while to actually start playing games again, and it might be another thing about trying to get a cohesive team environment back together again.
Yeah.
And honestly, just Penny Hardaway, the coach, has not been great. Just not showing great leadership on that team right now. They, the gelling of the talent there has not been there for me. And I see them, just comparing them to Houston. Houston is just a lot better, more complete team than me. And it's basically
Mhm.
those two in the AAC right now, if you want to bet on it. But I just don't see a lot of the other teams in their tier.
Mhm.
But Houston, even at plus 120,
I
seeing on DraftKings, I would still take that to
I
win the
did. Yeah.
conference.
Well,
Yeah,
I did.
they're going to be favored in every game left on their schedule, likely, with conference play starting next week in that conference. And two of the last 3 years, they've won the regular season conference title, and last year was the one they didn't, when Wichita
Mhm.
State had a great season. But they were only one game back in the
Yeah.
standings for them. So I see even value at Houston, even though they're favored here.
I like it. I really like it. I know. I think it's so funny. You're like, yeah, we need to talk about them for a second because
I'm
you're
glad you
really
said
stressing
that.
me
Yeah.
out, right?
Well, because you want to see good basketball teams play other good basketball teams, and when a team has like a COVID outbreak or just hasn't been gelling, I just want to see the best against the best. And Memphis is kind of, I mean, maybe they pick it up, but I don't know, they've just been disappointing. I think a lot of people probably feel similarly.
Yeah. Dan, before we wrap it up, do you have any other bets you want to serve us for tonight? Dan Servodidio. I was trying to do a play on the name. I don't know if it necessarily worked, but we'll go with it. We'll go with it. It's
It's
okay.
not the first time I've heard an attempt on the last name pun there. I'll throw one more out here. I do like
Okay.
Wyoming. They're playing Northern Iowa in this Diamond Head Classic later today. I like Wyoming. They're just small favorites, 2-point favorites, but the money line's short too. If you want to throw that in, I like them both against the spread or straight up. Northern Iowa, they have one of the worst 3-point defenses in the country, and Wyoming doesn't have a ton of perimeter scoring, but they do have enough shooters to kind of exploit that. And a lot of teams have done it to Northern Iowa this season. They're just 2-7 against the spread so far this year. And a key thing to look for in this game, and it showed last night or yesterday when Northern Iowa lost to Liberty, was when Northern Iowa was missing one of their key starters and one of their best rebounders, Trey Burhow, who didn't make the trip over to Hawaii due to a non-COVID illness. So he's out right now, and they're playing these games. And maybe last night, it didn't show too much, but I just think that it's going to be an issue against Wyoming, just a better, more complete team than Liberty was. And Wyoming's only 2 losses this season have come against legit teams. Stanford last night, and then Arizona earlier this year. So I see Wyoming a different tier above Northern Iowa here. So I like them.
I like it. I'm actually going to tell you on that one. Big fan.
There we go.
Big fan. Dan Servodidio serving us some of the best college basketball bets on a beautiful Thursday morning. He's the lead college basketball analyst for Fantasy Alarm. Dan, thanks so much for taking the time to come on again. And happy holidays.
Yeah, happy holidays to you both. Thanks for having me on.
Thank you. All right, Jim, let's take it from now, the college basketball court, to the big stage, the NBA, because there's a lot going on right now in the NBA, just in terms of COVID outbreaks, hardship contracts where teams are allowed to exceed their 15-man roster and sign one player for each player that tests positive for COVID to be able to keep the league going right now. Just what are your thoughts on everything that's happening in the league, just in terms of COVID? Because it's not just the NBA, it's NFL, it's the NHL, who shut down for an entire week. Just what are your thoughts on that in general?
I know it has that eerie feeling again, like these leagues are getting caught off guard a little bit. And what are we going to do? Are we going to shut it down? Are we not? Are we going to force the games? They're all figuring it out as they go. It's how it comes across to me, which is scary. But for the NBA, you sit there and look at the lines when they come out. You go through every game. You have to spend just as much time going through the spreads and the totals as you do who's playing. And I know we've talked about it on this show. I know you guys always do, about you have to wait till Scalabrini always says it too. You got to wait till like 5-6 o'clock, Eastern time to get your bets in, because you don't even know who's going to be showing up. So at this point in time for the NBA, I'm just trying to get as much as a team I know as who's playing. Do I like the value? And I'll take a shot on it because I have to bet it. I'm not going to not bet it, but it is scary right now. I mean, it's like, you feel like you're just, taking a real shot. Like,
is there a team that stands out to you right now for tonight?
So tonight I am going to play Charlotte tonight. I put that in right away this morning. They were getting 4 at Denver. Denver's struggling. Both teams are struggling. Charlotte's been struggling on the road too, but I feel like Charlotte finally got most of their players back, and they just score the ball so easily. Neither team Charlotte plays no defense. Denver doesn't play great defense. So teams that don't play great defense against Charlotte, good luck, because they're going to score. So I think I like Charlotte. I put that in right away at 4. I think it went down a little bit to 2.5 already. So I guess I'm maybe on the, Jared would say, on the right side or sharp side. But I'm feeling good about that one. I feel like I know what I'm getting with Charlotte tonight.
Yeah, I like it. In terms of the NBA for me, wiping my hands clean. Nothing for
walking
me.
Away.
Honestly, nothing for me tonight. I'm taking the money and running at this point. But you know what? Once things settle down a little bit, we'll get back into it.
That shows this time of year, it teaches you discipline, whether it's, are you going to eat too much during the holiday season? Are you going to drink too much during the holiday season? Are you going to gamble too much during the holiday season? Because it starts all day long. This is when you're tested as a human. How disciplined are you?
Yeah. Feast or famine? Famine. My betting NBA is famine, but my Christmas meals, feast. So I'm picking and choosing my places.
It's a healthy way to live.
Yes, totally. All right. Best bet of the day, Jim. What is our Pickswise 3-star play of the day? Who you got for us?
So for me, my best bet today for play of the day, and I'm not tailing Dan, as we know, I put this one in early, but Wyoming was on for me too. That Northern Iowa team plays no defense. And Wyoming is one of the best offensive efficient teams. And like Dan said, they have played a couple good teams. This game is a clear mismatch to me. I put this one in early, got it at -1. I know that went up a little bit too, but yeah, I'm on Wyoming with Dan. So I feel pretty good when he said that. I was like, okay, this is a good one today.
You're like, ooh, maybe I'm a sharp now. Who knows?
I feel like, and it's that time of year where, like we said, we got to give out winners. So, hey, Wyoming is the pick.
I like it. All right. Before I get into my best bet, our Pickswise 3-star play of the day on the Pickswise.com website. We got the over 221 in the Rockets Pacers game. That's from Germontis Nida. I hope I said the name right. Germontis Nida.
Yeah.
Make sure to check out the reasoning why. Go to Pickswise.com. Over 221 in the Rockets Pacers game tonight. So check it out. My play of the day, which Jim, I know you said you're backing me on this, but it is not
Yes.
your best bet of the day.
Not best bet.
I'm taking us back to the football field. Titans money line plus 146. You know me, I love my underdogs. I love taking a shot on a team. You look at San Francisco, and the numbers kind of back them right now. But I like to say stats are for losers when they don't back my picks. Okay. San Francisco. Oh my God. San Francisco, thank you very much, is 5-1 straight up and against the spread over the last 6 games. They've won 5 of the last 6. Now you look at Tennessee. They've posted 2-3 straight up, 1-4 against the spread marks over the last 5 games. But for me, you never underestimate mentality, right? What's going on in a locker room, the mentality the team's coming into the game with. And you've been around it firsthand. I mean, you've scouted, you've been with the Bills for a while too. Like the Titans are going to be playing with desperation on a short week. They want to keep the Colts off of their tails. Like the Colts have closed the gap right now to a 1-game race for the AFC South crown. And basically, the Titans want to take that crown at the end of the game and put it on their head. They own the tiebreaker right now. They have to win this game. They need to come out with that intensity, that mentality. And for me, the good factor is that Tennessee has really defended the run extremely well this season. They're second in the NFL, and they allow 86.9 rushing yards per game, just 3.9 yards per carry. That's pretty good. You look at what Landry's been able to do. Landry the third, I guess. Their linebacker, he's having a Pro Bowl caliber season. He's third on the team in tackles, first in tackles for loss, first in sacks. He's going to be a monster tonight. And you look at what he's done the last 8 games. He's registered a sack in 8 games so far this season, including 2 back-to-back performances against the Jags but against the Buffalo Bills too. You look at D tackle Jeffrey Simmons. He's been an anchor in the middle for the Titans defense. He has 50 total stops. And then, you look at D end. I always say his name wrong. Autry, right? That's how you say it. He's generated pressure this year and currently has 7 sacks on the season. I think Tennessee's front 4 is going to be looking to impose their will against the 49ers offensive line. And I think that their defense is going to be able to keep them in this one. They're going to squeak by with a win. I don't think it's going to be a blowout by any means. I think maybe a 1 or 2 point win, but you know what? A win's a win, and a crown's a crown. So I think they're going to come into this game hungry. They're going to want to play for it. And you can't underestimate mentality. That's all I got to say about that. Mic drop. Thank you.
You just made me. I should have made the Titans my play of the day. I mean,
ready to run through a wall right now? Like I'm ready to run through a wall. Come on.
Don't you think? But your pick with the money line makes sense too, because if you look at the game and say, could Tennessee win this game? Of course they can. I mean, so why wouldn't you just take the money line in this? It makes too much sense. I love it.
Yeah.
And the other thing, you think about the craziest thing this year with the 49ers is they traded everything. They mortgaged their future to take Garoppolo's replacement. Yeah. Yet they're right in the mix. They're in the playoff hunt. He's playing pretty well. It's one of the craziest things. Like, I can't imagine what it's like being there. I give Jimmy G credit for being a professional. Obviously, but I mean, that's the old, like when Kim Kardashian was with Chris Humphries and that sham of a marriage.
With that one reference.
Yeah, it just hit me. Like, you're watching the show and she's with Chris Humphries, but yet she's hanging with Kanye all the time. And it seems like they're having a good time. It's like, you knew Kim was going to get with Kanye eventually. Chris was just putting in the time. That's what Garoppolo's Chris Humphries. It just hit me today when we were talking about this. Anyway, I'm sorry. I got distracted. I always take it somewhere. But anyway.
No, it's perfect. That's honestly the perfect place to end the show today, Jim. Seriously. Jimmy Garoppolo is Chris Humphries, and that's that. So that's it for us today. Find us on the Pickswise YouTube channel. Go to Pickswise.com. Follow us on Twitter. Jim Monis. I'm Lauren Jabara. Best of luck tonight, you guys. Let's go Titans. Good luck with your bets, and have a great holiday season. We'll see you tomorrow. Let's get it. Let's bet it.